Hello, world. I'm Miles.
And I'm Memphis.
Welcome to Your Story Club
Podcast. A place where stories are told and legends are made.
That was cute, but I'm here for the interviews and not the jokes.
Sorry.
Oh, guys, and by the way, his nickname on the podcast is the Lame Joke Dude.
Hey, I'm watching you here.
And so am I. I'm also watching you. We're going to be interviewing every week all kinds of creatives, and you guys are going to be asking them awesome questions about what?
Their childhood.
I think that if we can chat with people about their childhood, you creative too will be inspired, and then we can pass it on to other people.
Should we call you Dinosaur Dude or Lame Jokes Guy?
I think we're going to call you Nickname Maker. That's what we're going to call you.
I actually don't like that nickname.
Mr. Nickname Maker.
No!
Okay. Everyone, we want to welcome you to
The Your Story Club,
Where everyone has a story.
All right. So we are going to get started with our first interview on, what's the name of our podcast, Miles?
The Your Story Club.
Podcast.
Yes, so I'm so excited for our first episode. And if you're joining us this early on our very first debut episode, then you most likely know that I am Emily Rose. I'm an actor and a voiceover video game person, a creative, but one of my most favorite titles that I have is mom to my kiddos. And I'm so excited to be doing this fun project of a podcast with my two boys, Miles and Memphis. So we came up with this idea because we wanted to listen to more podcasts together. And I felt like there was a space to have kids interview creatives and musicians and writers and thinkers and ask them what their beginnings were like. What were their childhoods like? What made them into who they were, good or bad? So today, for our very first episode, we have a wonderful guest with us today. We have, and I guess I should ask you this, Ashley, how do you want me to introduce you? Ashley Williams Allen?
That's great.
Okay,
Ashley,
great.
the boss lady, Williams Allen.
Ashley, the boss lady, Williams Allen.
Well, actually, you know what? I think Miles should give me a nickname because he's the nickname man.
Wow, Miles. Memphis, I'm trying to think.
What's her nickname going to be? She's already given you a hint that she's a boss lady.
Big boss lady.
No. The Bosser.
Okay, so the bosser, yes, the bosser. Well, that actually doesn't do you justice, though, Ashley. Okay, boys, listen up. Ashley, I know you know her as Miss Ashley, but Ashley is a film and television producer who is currently executive producing and show running Magnolia Network's amazing, colorful, successful show, Happy to Be Home with the Benkos, which we are going to be talking about today. And she's worked in this industry for over 2 decades and has been involved in producing and contributing to some of the most popular, highest rated reality series that I know our listeners have heard of, including America's Got Talent, The Bachelor, Dancing with the Stars, Hell's Kitchen. I mean, she's done so many of these reality shows. Ashley she's awesome and has such a passion for storytelling and is one of our dear friends who is doing this thing that she loves, producing. So we're so excited to learn more about your story, Ashley. And, guys, we go so far back with Ashley that I think she actually has a nickname for you, Memphis. Can you tell us what that nickname is, Ashley?
Senator.
The Senator.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
She called you the Senator because you had these big, chubby cheeks and big curly hair.
I did.
Do you have a nickname for me?
No, I love nicknames. I love giving people nicknames. I have about 1 million nicknames for my kids. Miles, your name is you have to say your first and your last name together. Like that's what we call you in our house. We always have to say your name together.
Your full name is your nickname. Anyway, we are so excited. That you're here with us today. You are an original OG champion of this podcast. a dear friend of ours, a dear friend of the family for so long. So we wanted to have Ashley on the show because she is the epitome of creative, and as a adult is an amazing creative, but maybe not your typical creative. You know, we're going to learn about what aspects of her job are creative. She's been in television for so long. I'll let you guys take it away and go ahead and get to know Miss Ashley.
And we are live. Thanks so much for being here. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, I would love to tell you about what I do. So I am a television producer. I've been producing television for about 20 years.
Whoa.
And I know that means I'm old.
Yeah, you're an old lady.
Whoa, bro. Old lady.
We'll have to edit that part out.
No, we are not editing that part out. I love that part.
Yeah. And so right now I'm the executive producer and showrunner of a show on the Magnolia Network called Happy to Be Home with the Benkos.
What is a producer for the kids who don't know?
Well, you know, a producer means a lot of different things. There's a producer for films, there's a producer for scripted television, and there's a producer for unscripted television. So I am a producer for unscripted television. And for the show that I'm currently working on, I helped develop it and create it and pitched it to the network and sold it to them. And so now I'm involved in every part of production. So at the beginning of the season during pre-production, I'm getting everything organized and ready for the shoot. When we're filming, I go into the field and I direct the cast and the cameras. And then once we get into post, I work with our edit team to take all the footage that we shot all season and craft a really beautiful story. So yeah, I kind of am a jack of all trades, I guess.
That's interesting. How long did it take?
How long did it take to do what?
To get TV show up and running.
Well, this particular TV show, it took a while because when we started developing it, it was about something completely different. And it probably took like a year and a half of a development process from conception to it really getting sold and then us filming it.
What was it originally about?
It was originally a show called Ferris Does Faces that was about like a 10-year-old girl who would paint people's faces as if they were artwork. And as she was painting their face, she would learn really interesting things about them. And she did faces of like astronauts and movie stars and famous country singers and stuff like that. So that's kind of what it started off as. And then it just sort of developed and developed and developed and became a home renovation show. Isn't that wild?
That's a big change, and it sort of reminds me of this podcast. We're just learning stuff about people.
Yeah, totally.
Did you get creative with a group of friends?
Like when I was a kid?
Yeah, and right now.
Yeah, we're about to take a dive into your childhood.
Well, right now, yes, I am creative with a group of friends. I actually, you guys, this is crazy, but I actually get to work with my best friend, and you actually know her. I get to work with my best friend. We've been best friends since we were in high school. Isn't that crazy?
That's incredible.
The interesting thing about Tracy is that she is very organized. And sometimes creative people can be kind of crazy. And we need organized people to keep us in line and make sure that we're doing all the things that we need to do. So it's really fun to have a group of friends and everybody has different strengths so that when we work together, we can produce something really spectacular.
So you're talking about that you get to work with your friends, and is that something that you felt like you and Tracy, when you guys first met, were creative together? Or is this something that you've kind of discovered as your friendship has gone along?
Well, no, we never really did creative stuff together. We were always just friends and always had a great time. But she's always been somebody in my life that I really trusted and that I knew that I could count on. She's very dependable. And also, knowing her for so many years, I knew that she was really organized. And when I started producing this show, I realized that there was a gap in what we were doing. And we needed somebody who was super organized to jump in and help us get things sorted out. And so I just thought, you know what? I trust Tracy, and she knows me in and out, and she's the perfect person to bring onto the show to work with me.
Where were you born? Is that where you grow up?
Yep, I was born in Columbia, South Carolina, and I grew up in the Columbia area.
Nice.
Yeah.
At what age did you decide to do your job?
Well, not until I was pretty old, not until I was about 23 years old.
Not until you were an old lady.
Memphis, stop.
Well, I guess that was really when I was like an old lady, and now I'm an old lady, right?
Very,
All right,
very old lady.
Yeah, there's no room for old lady jokes on this show.
No room for old lady jokes. When did you first realize you were creative as a kid?
I was about to ask that question.
I don't think I really ever saw myself as creative when I was a kid. I was in a lot of I guess I was in a lot of creative type school classes and stuff like that. Like we had a little program called Odyssey of the Mind,
Oh, that's nice.
where you would do kind of creative things with your classmates. But honestly, I don't really ever think that I considered myself a creative. And even as I started producing, a lot of times producers are problem solvers. That's really sort of what we do. We look at a situation and think, what are possible problems, and how can we go ahead and think about how we could solve them, whether it's, in something that's being written, something that's being produced and filmed in the field, or something that's in an edit. So I think I saw myself more as like a problem solver. And it wasn't until really the last 5 or 10 years that I really understood my capacity for like true creativity when it comes to writing or adding music to a score, or, really setting up shots visually. I think it's something that I don't think I realized as a kid. So
If you didn't know you wanted to be a producer, what did you want to be as a kid?
well, Memphis, I wanted to be Miss America when I was a kid.
Yes, the moment has arrived.
And I actually was Miss South Carolina.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So the early part of my career, I was a model, and I traveled all around the world modeling. And that's what actually brought me to Los Angeles. Was I was pursuing modeling and acting. And then shortly after moving to LA, I sort of fell into the role of casting and producing. And that's how I got my start as a producer.
Wait, so no, hold. I need to park here for a second.
Nice.
Oh no, don't park here.
So you wanted to be Miss America as a kid, and you achieved that. You achieved, being a part of that entire thing.
You achieved being Miss South Carolina.
Yes, that's right, which was a big deal. Do you feel like there were glimpses of what you do now in that you saw now as you look back on things?
You know what? Interestingly, yes. So a big part of, sorry guys, I know this is probably not going to be super interesting to you, but I'm just going to, we'll blaze through it.
It's very interesting because I think it's important that sometimes kids want to be things and it ends up turning out to be little shadows of maybe what they will become. Like the fact that maybe a kid would want to be, like I wanted to be a singer, an astronaut, and an artist. And now I look back and I say, well, that's an actor getting to do all those different things, right? So there's shadows, I think, of things that you are now that maybe you wanted to be as a kid. So if you could tell us more about that, I think that's kind of interesting.
Did you ever get braces as a kid?
We'll come back to that because I want her to tell me about this part.
Old lady needs to answer my question.
No time for old lady jokes. You can tell other jokes, no old lady jokes.
Since I am an old lady, I'll quickly answer your question, Memphis, so I don't forget. I did have braces as a kid. But to answer your mom's question, so being in a pageant, a huge part of it that people don't know about is you go through a really intensive interview process. And I worked and worked and worked with interview coaches to learn how to interview and to learn how to speak to people, because I'm naturally introverted, naturally pretty shy, and don't love public speaking. And now my job as a producer, a huge part of my job is interviewing people. I'm the interviewer and they're the interviewees. And we use those interviews all throughout our episodes to narrate the stories that we're telling. So interacting with people in an interview setting was definitely something that I learned as I was going through pageants.
Wow. So there's interview coaches, huh? Do you guys want to do some interview coaching?
Speaking of braces, I saw a deer in our backyard that really needed braces.
Oh, yeah? What kind of deer was that, Memphis?
It was a deer who had buck teeth.
Oh, wow. You're hilarious. That was good. Oh my, that was a really good pivot into that moment, Memphis. Thank you.
Hello, this is our commercial break segment called The Creative Corner. The Creative Corner is all about being creative. So, Memphis, what have you been doing to be creative lately?
Well, Miles, what I've been doing to be creative is I made a TV. Because Mom doesn't let us watch TV all day. Kids, we all know how that feels.
You made a TV? That's impossible, dude. You're not in an engineering class. That's literally impossible.
Miles, I did. I actually did. I made it out of a shoebox. A shoebox. Some duct tape, toilet paper roll, and stuff.
So you went to the bathroom?
No! A used toilet paper roll that I did not use.
Ah.
I colored some pictures, I put them inside, and I'm not actually done with them yet.
So it's an incomplete creative project.
Yeah, pretty much. Miles, what have you been doing to be creative lately?
Well, I have not been making any TVs.
Oh,
But I am pretty big into drawing planes right now.
nice! What made you want to draw fighter jets?
A little movie called Top Gun Maverick.
Okay, some of the kids haven't watched that, so let's not encourage that. Let's not encourage them.
Kids, it's a great movie. You should totally watch it.
Miles, what kinds of things do you learn when you draw?
You have to take a couple tries to do it. Because the shape of the wings and the Mach 9 engine is very hard to draw.
Yeah, it took me a couple times to get my design right. Well, that was a good creative corner.
So there's a couple ways to be creative this week. You can draw a shoebox, make a TV.
Draw a shoebox?
No. Make a shoebox TV.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we were getting that right.
Well, there you have it. There's some ideas from the Creative Corner. If you want to see this cardboard box TV or these plain drawings, go ahead and head on over to our Instagram at Your Story Club Podcast. Give us a follow and tell us what you think. Okay, back to our show.
Here's the $1 million question. Take a few guesses on what it is.
Oh my goodness, what is $1 million question?
She has to guess first.
Okay.
Oh, okay. $1 million question. $1 million question. I don't know. I'm bad at this.
He doesn't even have $1 million, so don't answer it.
This is the $1 million question. Are you a dog person or a cat person?
I don't even.
Oh, Miles, I don't think you want to know the answer to that. The answer is neither.
Then are you a gerbil person?
Are you a hamster person? A rabbit person?
No,
a deer
I'm a
person?
nothing. I don't like animals. I do not like really any animals. But you know what I do like is humans.
Old lady offends me.
I would just like to state for the record, you're the most gorgeous old lady that has existed. So let's not put her in that category. Okay, so what questions?
Oh, I have a question.
Okay, is it about her childhood? Mm-hmm. Yes, go ahead.
Childhood, yeah. Did you have a character from a movie or game that you looked up to and admired?
Well, yeah, my favorite movie was Girls Just Want to Have Fun with Sarah Jessica Parker, and
I haven't seen that one, and I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't want to either. Anything that involves girls, I hate.
You like Jurassic World.
Especially princesses. If it involves princesses, I'm out. No way.
All right. How about let's listen to her answer. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say girls just want to have fun. It was just like a really fun movie about dancing. I used to love to dance when I was a little kid, and that was sort of I don't know what it was about that movie, but I loved it. I think maybe I loved it because it was a little bit of a story of an underdog. And I kind of felt like an underdog when I was a kid because I got made fun of a lot.
Oh, so you're saying you were bullied?
Yeah, kind of.
So you felt left out and you felt different and you felt bullied. What did you do when you experienced those things? How did you deal with that?
Well, when I was a kid, the kids in my school, they were pretty mean to me, and all the boys would call me fish lips. And I would go home.
Oh!
So boys, don't call people names. Sticks with them.
I can still tell you the names of the people that called me fish lips right now.
Okay, tell us. It's okay. I'll beat them up to smithereens.
Oh, Memphis. Thank you.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Ashley.
Oh, no, I was just going to say Miles was asking how I dealt with it, and I would go home at night and cry every night.
When do you feel like you were able to kind of, I don't know, move over that or get past that? Or did you feel like getting into the pageant side of things helped with that?
You know, the summer between middle school and high school, I really sort of blossomed. I got taller and I think I just kind of grew into myself. But you know, that stuff for me, it took a really long time to go away. And I think even now, you know, sometimes it still bothers me. And a lot of times I see myself as an underdog or feel like I don't fit in, especially if I walk into a room with new people. You know, I'll feel uncomfortable and feel like, oh, maybe I won't fit in, or maybe they won't be nice to me.
So, what advice would you give kids that feel that way? Like me. I am kind of getting old right now.
You are?
I am.
Well, I would say number one, always talk to a grown-up about it. Like if it's your mom or your dad or, you know, a grown-up that you trust, always talk to somebody about it. Me and my kids, we talk about Darth Vader a lot. If you think about Anakin, like what a sweet boy, you know? And he went through some really hard times. And when you think and you realize that he grew up to be Darth Vader, it's kind of wild. But you realize that when bad things happen and we let them fester and they get into our hearts and we don't deal with it, we don't take care of it, it can have a really bad effect. And so that's the same advice that I would give anybody who's feeling bullied is talk to a grown-up about it and, you know, kind of work through it and deal with it, because you don't want to let that hurt get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then we become Darth Vader.
Darth Vader was actually a good guy, and I think the part of him also turning bad was maybe the fact that he got eternally burned by lava.
Maybe.
As all kids hate them, but what was your favorite vegetable?
My favorite vegetable.
For the record, I don't have one.
I eat broccoli pretty much every day here in my house.
So, speaking of vegetables.
Oh no.
Do you know how I know that carrots are so good for you?
How?
I've never once seen a rabbit wearing glasses.
Again, I emphasize his nickname as the lame joke dude.
You are so mean.
Memphis, I like the jokes.
We'll be here all week.
He'll be here all night, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Memphis, we got to wrap, or Miles, we got to wrap this up. So what are the last couple questions about creativity and childhood that you would ask Miss Ashley?
What? You said this would be a 30-minute podcast.
It's going quick.
What advice would you give a kid who wanted to produce his own films like an iMovie?
I would say just get going. Don't don't wait. Don't feel like you have to, learn or go through all of the school. Don't feel like you can't do it. Just get started. Start filming something. Start using, iMovie on your phone to create little movies, and you will learn as you go. And if there's adults in your life who can help you, ask them for help. But I think the biggest thing is to just do it. Like, just jump in and try, just like you guys are doing with this podcast.
Thank you so much. It was so good talking to you.
And now it's time for the recap of the Your Story from Mom.
Oh, yes. So this is where we move to a special part that I think I just forgot about, but now I remember. Thank you for reminding me. I'd like to, as our podcast is called the Your Story Club podcast, we like to wrap things up at the end and maybe reflect a little bit of your story back to you. So we say, once upon a time, there was a little girl named Ashley, and she was created to create. And she felt sad sometimes because she was called Fish Lips and felt... Now we can laugh at it, but at the time it was not funny, and she would go home and cry and cry and cry and dream.
She felt like Darth Vader.
She felt like she could become Darth Vader if she didn't deal with it, but she dreamt of maybe one day being Miss America. She worked so hard and so long, and she learned how to talk to people, and she became interested in people, and she even achieved her dream of becoming Miss South Carolina and going through that process. But even more, she became an incredible producer because she's learned through all of that how interesting people are. And with her creative heart, she has gone on to tell great, great stories and be great friends with great people, and will live happily ever after.
We have one final ask.
Oh, what's the ask?
Can you get us to Chris Pratt?
Oh.
Can anybody that listens to this podcast get us to Chris Pratt? We have them on the list. Or Dude Perfect. We have them on the list. So anybody just email us and we will send you anything you want.
Well, I don't know about... I don't know about that, but we do have a running Excel spreadsheet of all the people that we're excited to interview. And so that is on Memphis's list, although I don't know if he'll be able to even speak if he ever gets Chris Pratt on the...
Yeah, so it will be my interview.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
What does a shark say after it eats a clownfish?
Oh, dear Lord.
That tastes funny.
You can't get all of your jokes out now. It's only the first episode. Well, thank you so much, Miss Ashley.
Oh my gosh, it was my pleasure. I have a question for you. Do you guys have anything you want to ask me about interviewing people? Since I've done it for many, many years, and you guys are just taking your first steps into it.
I'll take Memphis for the first question. If, say, he was to have Chris Pratt on the show, what would you suggest for someone who has hero fright?
Who has what?
Hero fright.
The thing that takes away your fear is preparation. And so if you were going to have Chris Pratt on, then I would do some research about him, learn a little bit so that you would have some talking points for him. And then once you guys do this a few times, you'll be like old pros and you'll be prepared. And so when Chris Pratt does come on, it'll be easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
I'm pretty sure he'll still just faint.
Yeah, he'll probably just faint. Thanks so much for being on the podcast, Ashley. And everyone, check out our show, Happy to Be Home with the Benkos. We've watched it, and it is awesome. It airs Saturdays at noon, and you can stream it on Max, Magnolia, or Discovery+.
What do you call a crawfish with a messy room?
Okay, I'm going to have to put a little muzzle on him. Thank you so much. And we're going to end it. Good job.
A slobster.
Thank you, Ashley. Okay. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it, and share our Instagram at Your Story Club Podcast. You know the drill. Leave a rating and review, especially so other parents, kids, and creatives can find us. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me at Emily Rose LA, to visit our production company at North Rose Pictures. And we hope you were inspired by listening today, because remember,
everyone has a story.
This has been a North Rose Pictures podcast.